Alright, what we have here is a very special book. It's the first edition of the secret compartment Vectra Cobra holder. I've got my Cobra right here, you're going to recognize if I turn it over. There's my Cobra. And the thread right now is coming out, and it's coming through some of these bottom pages. My wax is attached right there. Alright, and my timer unit, this is a timer module, this brand new timer module, and you can see I have my Cobra pressure switch plugged into the timer module. The timer module has a port in the side that accepts any of the Cobra switches or modules. So you can use it without plugging the switch in. It has its own switch built into it, but it's small, right? It's there. This is kind of neat because I'm going to plug this switch into it, and by positioning it here, it also can be positioned here along the back, right? But by positioning it here, I'm able to operate it, trigger it, just by touching the top of the book. So I could have something laying on the book, and when I'm ready to trigger the timer module, which you still have time after you trigger it, okay, this just triggers it, this just activates it, the slightest pressure on the top of the book is going to activate it. The timer module is programmable. It's onboard programming. It's very simple. I guess it started there, and you can have sound or no sound. What I'm going to do, let me turn it off and turn it on. Starting out, I'm just going to program the delay before the first action, and let's just do let's do 8-second delay, and then we have the amount of time that the motor will run. Let's just do 1 second, which is what I used in my demonstration to knock over the cigarettes. 1 second, and now we're going to make that happen multiple times. Let's say we're going to do that 3 times. Let's say we're going to do it twice, like I did. We hit one thing here and then one thing here. The delay in between is programmable also. Let's do a 6-second delay. 6-second delay. All right, and this also can be illuminated if you're in a dark area. A 6-second delay, and the amount of times it's going to repeat. Let's just have it go twice. All right, and the beeping, you can turn it off right there. I'm going to leave it on though for demonstration purposes. It's a quiet beep. It will give you an audio signal of exactly when it's going to go. But you can use it without it because this is very accurate, down to the second. You can synchronize your watch or use a clock on the wall, a minute hand, and you'll know exactly when this is going to go. The other nice thing is if you have a piece of music, you know the exact length of the music, you can activate this at the same time that you cue the music, and you're going to know exactly when it's going to go off, or at any given point in time in the music also. Anyway, now it's programmed and it's ready to go. We're going to activate it with the pressure switch. Alright, and again we'll place that into the book, and what's going to happen is this is going to run. It's going to wait 8 seconds, then it's going to run for 1 second, and then it's going to wait for 6 seconds. It's going to repeat that 2 times, and you could repeat it 20 times if you wanted, 200 times. Let me place this all inside just so you can see what happens now, how this works. Just plugs right in, and again we'll just have that there, and by pressing on the book it's going to activate it, and we have an 8-second delay. So what you'll see here, we'll do this just so you can see the wax activate. Now I'll pull it back out after the first one. We're going to activate it. Now we'll have 8 seconds, and you'll hear a countdown at 5. Okay, and after 6 seconds it's going to do it again. Alright, it's small enough to hide it in your pocket. but I like hiding it in the book because then you can place the book in a strategic position and operate completely hands-off, letting the timer do all the work. Again, any of the switches could go, the mercury switch could go in there. It can also be attached on the back for hands-free operation. If you have it in your pants pocket, you can just kind of push up against it. So. This actually could go in a much smaller book too. But I want to leave space because I can also plug my remote control module, which is yet to be released, coming very soon. I can plug my remote control module into here, and that way I can activate this from a distance with my remote control and then have the advantage of the timer and the repeat settings. Now you could program this, like I said, in accordance with music. Let's say you have a 2-minute long routine that you have a thread stretched across the stage or a thread that you're using, and after the 2 minutes is up, after your performance is up, this activates and reels in all your thread. You could have it run for 10, 20 seconds. You could let it reel in a good 20, 30 feet of thread that was stretched across the stage, and in that way, use your thread over and over. One more feature on this that's very convenient, especially when you're setting up and things, is that it does have a button to manually activate the Cobra. And you can lock that on also, just like that. So now, you can set up or do whatever you like to do, or just use that as an always on in case you only have the timer switch and you want that feature. Let me switch this also to just show you that it's very easy to turn off this sound in case you're confused about the beeping, that you don't have to have it beeping. Just like that, the sound is off, and now we can run our program without any sound. We'll run this with it open. So you can see the functionality here. We'll turn the light on. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. It runs for 1 second. It turns off. It delays for 6 seconds. It's going to do that again for 1 second, and then it turns off. Okay, so you can also use this as a feature where you have the tension on the reel for as long as you want it, and it turns off by itself. It can pull in 20, 30, 40 feet of thread and turn off by itself, and you don't have to worry about going and turning it off so the battery won't run out or anything like that. Now it's a fairly small unit. It can be put in your pocket. When you combine this, right, they're similar in size, but the neat thing is, since you have this port, right, you can activate it with the switch here. You could also plug in an extension. Let's say you were working with this in a pocket. You can have the switch somewhere else on your body, up your sleeve, in your shoe to activate it like that, hands-free. You could also use the extension this way. And now you can have your reel somewhere on your body in a pocket. And you can have the timer somewhere else completely. You could have it strapped on your leg, so it's, somewhere really concealed. And then when you trigger it, right, you can trigger it from this area, or you could have another cable. It just allows for endless variations. Now, why would you do this? Well, you could have this concealed somewhere on your body, in the small of your back, or strapped to your ankle or something, somewhere where it's really hidden, and then have your Cobra wherever you would normally put it to perform a routine. And like when I do a floating routine, I do the floating, and at the end I use the Cobra to reel the thread back in, so I'm reset. Well, instead of having to manually do that, if I know my routine is going to be 1.5 minutes, well, then I set this up so that after 1.5 minutes it's going to run for, say, 5 seconds to reel all my thread back in and then turn off. So now I'm able to trigger this. Let's say it's on my ankle. I'm able to trigger this I have my delay, time until I know when it's going to go on, or I can have it go on right away. I do my routine, or I don't, say I do my routine, and at the end of the routine, it sucks in the thread, and then it turns it off, and that's all completely hands-free. So, very, very handy little device. So that's the programmable timer module, brand new, for the Vectra Cobra.